All right, thank you and welcome to Good Morning Kenya. We get to continue with our conversations of the day, and right now I am going to be speaking to one young lady who is a leader. You know, her name is Alionya Roslyn. She is the chairperson, Young Captains ODM, and she's here for us to have a conversation on just young women taking on the lead. That is our main drive of this conversation. So how about I get to have her say hi to us as we get to begin. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me on this show. I'm very fine and I'm privileged to be here as a young lady trying to maneuver in the space of politics. So as you have rightly put it, my name is Roslyn Alionya from the largest party in Northern Sahara, southern part of River Limpopo, as our chairperson normally puts it. So I am I must say I'm privileged to be the chairperson of the lobby group called Young Captains in ODM, because this is a space that people feel it's a male-dominated space. People feel that it is very difficult for a woman to rise in ODM, that you have to be as ruthless, as rough as Millie Odhiambo, but it is not necessarily it.
You have to be a bad girl.
Yes. So I must appreciate my party leader, and today, if he was alive, today would have been his birthday. So Baba, wherever you are, happy 81st birthday. So you left champions here on earth, you taught us the right way, and we are going to ensure that your legacy lives on even in the generations after us.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I would love for you to just let us in on your role, you know, in the Young Captains of ODM. Yeah,
so first and foremost, I think our listeners need to understand what is Young Captains. Young Captains is a lobby group under the ODM Women League, because ODM has different structures. We have the Youth League, we have the Women League, and then now we have the mainstream. So under the Women League, the president, the current nominated Senator, Madam Beth Siango, realized that the ODM Women League has majority of elderly or senior women in the political party, and so the young women were missing in terms of representation and even voice. So they began a lobby group at first called Young Captains to try and bring young women, especially from university and TVET institutions, to have a platform in the political party. So it was begun, I think, around 2021, and by that time I was just a member. So through the mentorship, through the programs, you realize that as young women, you get to interact with senior women who have already been elected, who have already been nominated, who have been in appointive position in government. So you are able to understand what did it take for them to be where they are. So it is a platform that is providing us with mentorship, and every young woman out there, because there is no any other political party that has such a platform for young women especially. Most political parties have their focus on youths, and they have the Youth League, but most women are not able to thrive even in the Youth League. It is too masculine and too rough. So when you're a young woman, you're naive, you're in your 18, in your 20s, your early 20s, or even late 20s, you do not have the stamina that is required in the political front. So when you get to meet elderly women who have already been there to mentor you and tell you this is how you dress for political rallies, this is how you speak, this is how you lobby, this is how you organize, I feel as a young woman in ODM, we are privileged.
Now, before you got into, you know, Young Captains as a member, because you mentioned you began as a member, before you got into it, like, how has your journey been to the point where now you are where you are right now as the chairperson of Young Captains? Like, what got you into politics? Was there a defining moment for you that made you decide this is the path I want to take, despite it being as male-dominated as it is and as rough as you put it?
So I think, if I remember very well, I started off the journey of active politics as a blogger. So, you know, the way you're told, hype this politician, so you'll go there on social media and type Chalala, TB, you know, this person, like, huyu ndio milele, you know, those things. But then I realized, what impact am I going to create in the next 30 years? Will I continue to just say TB, Mtialala? But in the process of blogging, you get to meet different people. Because it is in that process of blogging for very many politicians in ODM that I realized, so ODM has the Women League, ODM has the Youth League, and then by that time, the Young Captains was just beginning. I think I was in my second year, my first year. And I realized there's an impact you can make even as a blogger. But now in the process, because leadership has been in me. I think in high school and primary school, I've been in leadership position. I've been the president of my primary school. I've been the president of my high school. But I didn't have the vigor of politics. You know, it was like leadership. You can lead people. You can do stuff. You can represent people. But I didn't feel I can have the stamina of being into politics. So it is that aspect of blogging for politicians that gave me the exposure. You meet other young people who are already doing something for themselves in the political arena. And then now in the process, you get to connect to one politician to the next. In the process, you get to understand that these politicians belong to political parties, etc. So it is a journey of transitioning from being a TB Manantialala blogger into realizing that you can actually voice out your issues. You can actually take your policies into a political parties and try to tell your political party structures that this is what you can do for us young women to feel represented, for us young women to have even the resources, both financial, mental, physical, and emotional, to ensure that maybe in future, if the bad girl is not there, Alionya will be there to represent women in parliament. Maybe in future, if the governor, Gladys Wanga, is not there, there'll be another governor elected maybe 30-40 years from now. So for me, it has been a journey of transitioning from making noise on social media to actually realizing that political parties have platform where you can literally make meaningful noise that will transform into policies, that will make you even be elected, because there are people who started a journey just like me. You become a blogger. If you look at Itumbi, for example, I don't know his journey entirely, but those of us who have been exposed to him, we have known him as a social media guru. But look at him now, he's in State House, So I feel like young people do not necessarily need to be the use and dump of politicians, So as the politician is using you for any reason, ensure you're also using them in return. As a political party is using you for any given reason, ensure you're also using them in return. Because any politicians who gives you a platform to campaign, to blog for them, or to even mobilize for them, that is a very meaningful connection that you can make something good out of it. So it is up to us as young people to realize the asset that we get from this social capital of just blogging, mobilizing, so that you don't just become a goon. You can be a politician's security guard, but you don't necessarily have to cause chaos, to cause violence. But in the process, try to look at the kind of platform you have been given and what can you really get out of it. And
I love that, because I feel like this is that period. You know, as we're heading towards the electioneering year, we're only, you know, it's a year away, you know, in some months. I'm sure that this is the point where, as you're saying, you know, you get used by the politicians. Not used in a bad way, it may depend. If you're being used as a goon, then, well, you know. But I love how you've put it, like, as much as you're doing this for them, ensure that they are also doing something for you. Maybe not directly, but find a way of you just finding space for yourself and making things happen for you. I love that. So that was your defining moment when you got into the blogging space, but specifically for the politicians. And then now your eyes opened and you were, okay, I can get into this as well. So in the context of Kenyan political, in the Kenyan political landscape, what does a young woman on the lead, you know, mean from your point of view?
You know, it depends, because unfortunately for women in politics, it is a very difficult journey. And it is even worse when you are a woman and you are young, because the society has not really embraced, it is really trying to embrace women leadership, but the society has not really accepted that a woman can lead a society entirely. So for young women, the space in the political arena is so I would say it is in Kiswahili they say imefinywa, like that hiyo nafasi ni kidogo sana for a young woman. It is tough for us because first you don't have resources, secondly you don't even have the experience, and then for us women we are very emotional human beings. So any scenario can actually knock you down from the political arena. We don't have the stamina of realizing that today they have abused me, today they have called me this kind of names, but tomorrow I can still show up and smile and campaign. So the space is still narrow for us, especially young women, because once you enter into politics, like for me as a Leonia in a political party as big as ODM, the first thing that the society think, this one must be someone's girlfriend in ODM. This one must have slept with someone for her to be the chairperson.
There's always that.
There's always that.
I don't
narrative.
know why there's always that perception that for a woman to make it, not just in politics, in almost every field, that there has to be someone, you know who she had to do whatever to get herself there. It's such a primitive way of thinking from my point of view.
And in politics it is extreme, because if today I was just a young girl who is vibrant, who is probably not even focusing in politics, almost everyone would be supporting me. But immediately you say, now I want to contest for women rep of Nairobi. Now I want to contest for senator of Nairobi. People will now start asking you, are you married? No, you are still young. Do you have a kid? No, you are still young. You get, so they feel like you don't have the muscles to be a leader, especially for the fact that you're a woman, and unfortunately for the fact that you are young. So it is unfortunate for us because the society expects us to get married. Like right now, if I decide that I'm contesting for any seat, people will always ask, are you married? Do you have a kid? Why do you want to go into politics before you create your own family space, etc.? So I would say, from my own perspective, the space is still limited. It is still small. It is cropped up that if a woman does not have the right mentors, if a woman does not have the right supportive mechanism, then it is difficult for a young woman to rise in the political space of Kenya. And as of the recent events in Murang'a, when a woman just came up and said, Mimi ni two-term, and people had to, booing is one thing, because I looked at that funeral in Murang'a, and then I looked at the funeral in Kakamega. There are people in Kakamega who came up on a podium and said, me, I am two-term, me, I am broad-based. Others came and said, me, I am one-term. And it was a coexisting podium where every politician was coming and saying whatever they are saying and leaving. But while I was reflecting on those two scenarios, I realized that for the funeral in the Jirongo's funeral, people were able to tolerate the two-term and the one-term chants because they were being made by men. But for this girl, because she's a woman, trust you me, if it was Kamau or any other man who came on that podium and said, Mimi ni two-term,
the story would have been different.
The story would have been different. Nobody would have thought of, maybe if I go there to try and slap her, maybe if I go there to try and rough her up, to try and rough him up, he will keep quiet or something. But because she was a woman, I strongly believe it, because she was a woman, now someone decided that even if you have been booed, I still have to come and ensure that the microphone has been taken away from you, you have been chased away from this venue. So it is a whole lot of scenario. The society has not yet accepted that young women can lead, whether they are married or unmarried, because most young male politicians, when they come into the political arena, nobody asks them if you are married, nobody asks them if you have a kid. So it is always like, okay, what do you want to do for us? But now when a woman comes asking for the same position, people try to put the sexism part of it to try and maybe pull her down, try and tell her you are not, you're not strong enough, you're not fit enough to be in this position. So the space is limited. But I thank God for my political party, ODM, and my former party leader, the late, in fact calling him late feels so bad. But if Baba had won elections in 2022, and maybe God's plan was that he died last year, we'd be having the first female president. Yeah? So he was so much intentional about supporting women in leadership. We have seen how he supported Gladys Wanga, we have seen how he held the hand of Millie, we have seen how he held the hand of even the Nairobi women representative. So I come from a political party where the party leader was so intentional in ensuring that women have the right space to ensure that they create their own wings to fly. Yeah.
How far are we for us to get to a point where it is not as difficult as you've just elaborated? Are we close to get to that point where women can take up political spaces and it's not difficult for them? You know, there are equal chances for both genders.
I think it will take us quite some time, but let me appreciate the drafters of the 2010 Constitution, because in Article 27, they have tried to ensure that they have written there that any appointive positions, you should ensure that the 2/3 is met, so that not more than 2/3 of the same gender is represented. So I feel like if the Constitution, if any government is intentional in ensuring that the Constitution is adhered to, we can actually achieve it. Another tool that we can use as a country is the political parties. If all political parties have the intention of ensuring that women get elected, so they maybe decide to create quotas that maybe this zone or this area, because no lady is required. Because if you look at areas like Northeastern, if you look at areas like even Nyanza, the parts of Kisii, even Western Kenya, you know, that society, even Meru, that society has not really accepted female leadership. So if political parties can create quotas to ensure that if we are going into an election, we are going into primaries, and we have maybe a lady and a gent in this area, in this constituency, in this ward, then it will be okay for us maybe to come to a consensus and allow this lady to contest. So it will come from the willingness of political parties, because it is the parties that provide these ladies with party certificates to go into any election. So that it does not only mean that if you are a young person and you are a woman in any political party, you only wait for the nomination or the gender top-up list. So the political parties must be intentional to provide ladies, women with the spaces to get the party tickets at the primary level, and then support them financially, support them in terms of infrastructure and anything that they need during the campaign period. Nonetheless, I think women should also believe in themselves, because even if these platforms are provided in political parties and there is no woman showing up to contest, it will be an issue. Easy vitu si ngumu. There's nothing so difficult about contesting. I think my mindset has changed over time because of the political party I come from, because it is so easy and it is so difficult and very masculine to survive in ODM. But we have seen women thrive in this party. So I always have that limelight that maybe in the next, I would say in the next 40 or 30 years, probably would be at 60%, trying to ensure that governors are elected as women, so that you don't look at her as a woman first, you look at her as objective as it can be. What is her manifesto? What is she coming to do for our county? Even for the senatorial position, because I was looking at the data of 2022, I think we only have, is it 3 or 4 senators? We have 7 governors, at least for governors, people are trying.
That was a plus, though, for Kenya.
Yes. So if the constitution is adhered to, I feel like we might achieve the representation that we want in the political arena, but it will require the willingness of the existing government, the willingness of political parties and the societies at large. Looking at women as leaders. You don't look at me as a Leonya, as a woman first, before you look at what I'm offering. Just look at me as equal as to that man I am contesting with on that same docket, and try and look at what is Leonya is bringing on the table and what is the person X bringing on the table, and then you decide whether you're voting for Leonya or whether you're not voting for her. But don't fail to vote for me because I'm a woman, or don't vote for me because I'm a woman. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. That is very well put. And in line with that, maybe why is it important? Why is it so important for women to come out, or to just come out to occupy these spaces, to come out to look at what opportunities are there for me? You know, as you're saying, the opportunities may be there, but maybe there are no women who are out here, you know, to take the spaces. So what is the importance of us as young women to just come out in ensuring that we are occupying spaces, maybe not just political spaces, but spaces whereby we have the chance to to be the decision makers?
Yeah, I think I've always believed in the fact that good things begin on the other side of fear. When you stop fearing of anything bad that can happen because you're contesting, I believe good things will start coming from there. Because if you tried to contest today for a Senate position and you failed, you have not lost. You have learned one or two things. You have stamped your authority. Probably if you got 2,000 votes, that means 2,000 people believed in you, and you have a reason to reshape yourself so that you come next time and maybe get 100,000 of those votes. So young people, and especially women, should continue coming up, because if they fail to come up, the men will use it against us. They will continue saying, okay, where are the women? Like right now, everyone will be saying there are these by-elections that are coming up. Where are the women? Why are they not contesting? So the greatest maybe barrier that is affecting women is probably the fear from themselves. But once you stop fearing, because hakuna mtu atakuchapa ukienda kwa polling station na upate hata 0 votes. Hakuna mtu atakuchapa. Umeenda uka experience ukapata, probably you are the only person who voted for yourself, not even your family members. So it won't be that bad. It will be an experience that would have learned 1 or 2 things. So if we continue to stay at home, if you continue not to show up, even at our workplaces, if you do something and you show people that I am the one who created this software, I'm the one who ensured that this project was successful, I am the one who ensured that this team brought the success, I'm the one who ensured that the marketing team did this and that, and you come out and tell people, I did it, even if nobody will clap for you, with the time, people will realize that for us to have a good marketing strategy, we need to look for person so and so. For us to ensure that the social media is doing something great, we need to look for person so and so. So I think let us just be like men. Men will always try, even some of the riskiest things.
Yeah, you tell just have the audacity of a man.
Exactly, the audacity of just to be a bad girl. Try everything. However, if it is bad, you can come later and apologize and say, I tried, I didn't know how bad it would be, but I've learned my lessons.
Just show up.
Yes,
show
just
up for
show
yourself.
Up. Just show up and don't fear, because it is the fear that is making us not to show up for some of these positions. Because today, if I told people I'm contesting for a position like Member of Parliament, people will be like, no, you need to leave that position and contest for women representative. But if you continue showing up, very many women showing up to contest for governor position in 2027, probably the numbers will increase to 14. You know, in mathematics, there was something called the probability. So if all of us put ourselves out there, showed up, there's a high likelihood that majority of us will make it. We might not make it all of us, but the numbers of the people who will be elected will increase. I feel like with the time, because we are the largest voting bloc, women are the most loyal voters. So if we come out, show up, and when you are elected, you do your best so that people don't try to bash you on the gender card and say, we gave her an opportunity, look at what she did, so no woman deserves it. So if you are given an opportunity, you do your best. It will give more strength and even hope for the other women who have not contested to show up. And in the process, with the time, it is now even the male gender who will now be asking for the 2/3 gender, equality stuff, etc. So if we believed in ourselves, we can actually just run the world.
Yeah. Who run the world?
Girls.
Anyway, I want us to get back to the stereotypes. You know, there's one that you had mentioned whereby people assume for a woman to take up space specifically in politics and you know, anywhere else, there has to be a man that made her get to that point. Maybe what are some other stereotypes that we need to debunk?
I think that would be the greatest one, because it is mostly used to bar women from contesting. Because if today I left this studio and everyone on social media is writing about me having a relationship with person so and so, in one way or another, it affects you emotionally. It lowers your self-esteem and stuff. I think another stereotype is people thinking that women are not capable enough, that women are their greatest enemies, that women are emotional human beings and they cannot be given leadership roles. There's a president in, is it Namibia, or the first elected African woman, women president. And she's doing a lot in ensuring that the debt of the country is being repaid, in ensuring that there's development in the country. So looking at women as emotional human beings that cannot be responsible for leadership position is another stereotype that must be debunked. Looking at women as only objects for reproduction, objects for maybe being there for the family setup, that is also another stereotype that must be debunked. But majorly, the sexism stereotype is used as a strategy to try and make us maybe get distracted from our objective. Because once people use your female genital being, you know, it distracts you and deconstructs you completely. Because you're not able to concentrate. You're going into a rally, someone has already talked of how you look, someone has already talked of how you are unmarried, and you're not able to maybe run a leadership project, etc. It really affects you. But that one would be the major one. But the other one is trying to look at women as emotional human beings that cannot be trusted with the leadership position. That is another stereotype that I think need to be debunked, because we can always maintain our emotions. Yes, we might be angry, and it is normal for you to be angry, it is normal for you to be disappointed, but you have seen leaders who are always in their emotional intelligence state. They know when to rant, they know when to you know, to scream, they know when to, because it is the screaming, it is the ranting that ensure that some of these policies are done. If you look at an example of our very own bad girl, I think one of the reasons she has been as vibrant as she is because she ranted and she screamed when there was no any other alternative. And it is the screaming that made us know, oh, there's a bad girl in this room. You get. So some of these feminism, or looking at us as emotional human beings, some of these emotional things that we do are actually the things that allow us to achieve anything that we are fighting for. But majorly, the sexism part of you having maybe slept your way up is the greatest stereotype against women, used to bar them from pursuing their goals, used to decampaign them, etc. It is the largest. It is the largest one, but it needs to be totally demystified. And I think it needs to be demystified by women themselves, So when you are put in, or you are appointed maybe as a CEO, just do your best that with the time, because once you are appointed, the first 1 month or 2 months, people will speak, people will say of how you have slept with so and so for you to be there. But what if for the 1 year, you bring a very radical change in your department that people will be like, hey, and she deserved it. If it is a political position, why can't you just do your best, deliver on your mandate, that people will be looking back and believing that she deserved that position. So it is up to us also to debunk the stereotype by ourselves, because once you sit down and say, no, I can't even do it because they have said this, they have said it, you are depressed, you're not able to deliver on the task that you are given. With the time, your inefficiency becomes now, it validates whatever they said against you. So it is up to us also to be our best anytime you're given a position.
All right. Now you advocate for policy and gender audit initiatives. Let us in on that within ODM.
Yes. So I think as a party, the reason why we have been so progressive is because we are a people-centered political party. So in ODM, the Women League is allowed to look at some of the policy documents of the party, that is the party constitution, some of the policy documents or the training manuals for the women, and ensuring that they adhere to the 2/3 or the narrative of gender equality. So I think like sometimes last year, we tried to look at our constitution and we realized that there are some areas, like you'd find a constitution has been written and maybe has highlighted the roles of a chairman, As of now, we have a chairperson who is a lady, but now that constitution was referring to that person as chairman. So it was like the person who has to be a chairman must be a man. So we try to look at some of these articles in our own constitution, and we now direct through the legal team of the party to try and review some of the terminologies used in the constitution to ensure that some of the positions look equal for every gender, that it's either a man, it is either a woman, it can be a young person who can contest for these positions. Equally, we also try to look at the training manuals. Through partners, ODM has been developing training manuals for female candidates where they train them on how to brand themselves, how to go on TV and talk like the way I'm talking here, how to talk in a rally, how to dress for different rallies, how to mobilize, etc. So those documents are always there, but with the time we are brought in to try and review because things keep changing. Like for the 2027 election, we have the issue of AI where you can just see a video of yourself dancing. Like nowadays, it is all over. But now what happens when now AI is used wrongly on you? You know, you find your images out there that are inappropriate. So what would you do? How would you handle it? So we are trying to ensure that we communicate to the party and try to advise the party structures on how they can maybe review the party documents to ensure that they are encompassive and inclusive of young women, and even people living with disabilities. Yeah.
All right. I want us to get into mentorship and the role that mentorship plays in all of this. Would you say that it has played a part in you navigating the political space?
Yeah, it has really played a part because I'm seated here as the chairperson of ODM Young Captains. Once I leave this interview, I know there are people who have watched it who are from ODM, who are probably elected or nominated members who call me and tell me you should not have said this, you should have said this, you did well, etc. Such consolation makes me understand that when I go for the next interview, this is how I should dress. When I go for the next interview, this is how I should show up in time, etc. So for me, in ODM, mentorship is really playing a pivotal role. And recently, even when we were launching or when we were celebrating ODM at 20 in Mombasa, the ODM Women League launched a mentorship program where they will now be requiring the elected and nominated leaders to pick maybe 2 or 3 people from young captains, and you now become their mother for like the rest of your life. So if maybe we have very many nominated MCAs, very many nominated MPs, elected MPs, and Governor Wanga alone. So the Women League is trying to ensure that these women who have already been given the mandate, either through nomination or elective positions, you hold at least 2 or 3 people and you work with them the journey up to 2027, especially those who are contesting. Try to show them how do they lobby for funds, how do they campaign without money, how do they show up at the community level, how do they meet these opinion shapers, because some of us young women, we come from very radical societies where there's FGM, etc. So how do you handle that to ensure these opinion shapers in your community are able to look at you as a woman of substance objectively and maybe give you a platform in their relevant chamas group, border groups, etc. So as a party, we are privileged because the party is so intentional in ensuring that as young captains, we are not only there for lobbying or for showing up in rallies, etc. But at least we have someone we can look up to for the next 2-3 years, etc. A person who is mentoring you, holding your hand. And it is not only political, because there are some women who are in young captains. They might not want to be elected necessarily, but they might want to be in leadership positions in their areas of specializations or the faculties that they are learning in. So they also need that mentorship, because these politicians are friends to CEOs, these politicians are friends to people who have started companies, etc. So you are able to use that linkage to try and maybe meet now other mentors in the corporate space. So as a party, I think it is so intentional in ensuring there is mentorship for the young people. It is up to us young people to take take action or to take anything meaningful from these connections and the social capital that you have been given by our political party.
All right, as we almost come to a conclusion of our conversation, what would be your view or what is your view into the new year, that is the year 2026? What would you like to see come to fruition for our country?
I think from the recent activities in Murang'a, where we saw someone being chased out of a rally, if there's anything I'm praying for is tolerance, because when you go into political violence where you have to use goons to chase people away from rallies, if there are people who are going to be affected greatly are women, because me, I can't hire goons, me, I can't even be a goon myself, you know, I'm very fragile. And as a woman, when you are in a rally filled with men, it's so insecure for you already, because you have seen scenarios where people's clothes have been torn, people have been fought, their hair has been torn, they have very weird things have happened to them. So when I saw that thing happen in 2026, I was so frightened, because I was asking myself, what if we go into a political season where a two-term region does not allow a one-term person to come there, or a one-term region does not allow a two-term person to go there? We will be very intolerant of one another, and that is not the direction we should take. And if that direction continues, it is us, the women, who will be greatly disadvantaged, because we don't have the muscles of fighting these narratives or of fighting physically in a rally. So my greatest prayer is that as a country, we will have some tolerance, that if today Alionya said she's a one-term person, you will accept me with my opinion. If today I said I'm a two-term person, you would accept me with my opinion, and you would live with me knowing that Alionya is a one-term person, me, I'm a two-term person, and we will coexist. Yeah, to ensure that we go into 2027 and allow Alionya to vote for whoever is voting for, allow for the other person to vote for whoever is voting for. Because if you go into political violence, sisi wanawake ndio huwa tunaumia sana, because there's a high likelihood of you being beaten up, of you not showing up in a political rally because you know it will be violent. So I hope our leaders will take that scenario seriously, because people are looking at it lightly, but it is a very heavy ideology, because if it continues, I think women will not be given microphones on podiums. Maybe to any bad girl atabaki na microphone peke yake, and that should not be the case. All of us need to be given a platform, regardless of which political affiliation I come from. Allow me to hold my idea, allow me to hold my ideology, because this is a country of democracy. Yeah.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinions.
Exactly.
And we should be allowed to just exist, you know, coexist, as you mentioned earlier. Now, finishing up, I want you to speak to the young woman who's watching us. You know, this is what this segment is all about, to try and empower the younger generation, you know, even younger than yourself. So to the younger woman who's watching us right now, what would be your word for them on matters just them going for what they want, going for their goals, going for their aspirations, especially in the new year? You know, we have resolutions and all of that. All of us seem charged up for the year. So just what would be your word for them?
To my fellow young women, I want you to know that life is very unfair. We don't have a fair ground as women, especially if we are young. And that should only motivate you to show up regardless, because even if you remain comfortable in your own couch, in your own house, life is unfortunately unfair for a woman, and especially a young woman. So as I leave this studio today, I want you to know that you can always show up, and if you fail, you can show up again, and if you fail, you can still show up again. We have seen women breaking barriers at the ages of 70. We have seen women breaking barriers at the ages of 23. So you never know. Keep showing up. Don't allow fear to take over you. You can equally do that thing. You can equally create a software. You can equally become an architect. You can equally become the CEO of your company. You can equally become that breadwinner. You can equally become that president. You can equally become that governor in Kenya. So don't allow fear to hold you up. Don't allow stereotyping to hold you up, because even if you sat in your own couch, someone would still believe you are sleeping with someone in that own couch of yours. So just show up. Don't allow fear to overtake you. And believe me or not, one day of you making various attempts, it will always be successful. In Kiswahili they say, itajipa. Yeah.
Itajipa too eventually.
Itakubali.
As long as you're putting the work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're showing up. So keep showing up. Like for me to be the chairperson of Young Captains, I just kept showing up. Because I used to school in Machakos University, and sometimes you don't even have fare to come to a rally in Nairobi. But me, I would just fully and ensure I have showed up, and then in that rally I would tell people, me, I don't even have fare to go back. So people will look at that and have that willingness of supporting me, have that willingness of calling me to other platforms of high regard where you get right mentorships from some of these NGOs and political partners. So it is that showing up consistently and allowing also to be corrected. As a woman, you will always mess up, but it is not the end of the world. Nobody has a manual of this life. Nobody has been a human being before. All of us are really
all
trying.
doing it for the first time.
Exactly. Yeah. So you do it, ukifail, ukifanya mambo mabaya. Like me, I've done very bad things before, but I've been corrected, and I take the correction positively. So take corrections positively, keep showing up, na usikubali uoga ikuingie. Siku moja itajipa. Kuwa tu kimbelembele, be everywhere, try everything. It will accept. If there's direct translation.
Itakubali.
Itakubali, itajipa.
Yeah, and do not shrink yourself.
Exactly.
As a young person, due to don't look at age as a limitation.
Exactly.
Or even your gender, you know, for women as a limitation.
Yeah. And I think lastly, before I forget, please let us show up and register as voters, as young women. But unasema women ni loyal voters. Hata sisi young women wacha tuendeleze hiyo narrative. Let us continue being loyal voters. So show up, register as a voter first before you even ask for any elective position. So my fellow Gen Z, females, please chukua kura, enda register kama mpiga kura, so that 2027 we don't make noise in the streets, we make noise at the ballot.
Well put. I'll add nothing else. That is where we put a cap to today's Good Morning Kenya. Thank you so very much to each and every one of you who has been tuning in. Thank you so much, Rosalind, for joining us for this conversation. And on behalf of everyone who has been able to make this show a success today, we want to wish you a lovely day. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. I'll see you tomorrow, same time and place. My name is Vivian Dagwa. Bye.